Welcome to today's episode of Video Guys Newsday Tuesday. Today it's going to be all about Avid. We've got Avid product manager Dave Colantuoni with us. Hey Dave, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Gary.
Cool. We're going to talk about the new version of MediaCentral specifically for editorial management. Before we get into that, why don't you tell our viewers a little about who you are, your history with Avid, and how this product kind of came about.
Okay. Sure. So first of all, great to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about a brand new product we have at Avid, one I've been working on for quite a long time. I've been at Avid around 10 years. I've most known for being the media composer, product manager. I've actually been the product manager for NEXIS for about 6 years. I was ISIS, formerly NEXIS. And I've worked on various products and product management here. I manage the business and the product design of all of those different products, including editorial management.
Awesome, awesome, great. Today's show is about MediaCentral editorial management. And I want to give a brief, we've got this big overview screen as you can see. So this is combining your editorial collaboration with video interfaces, with pro mixing and audio, shared storage. It lets you work through everything together as a team, but you're not just working on the same media, you're actually collaborating, which is a big deal. So what we're talking about this is we're saying, are you collaborating? That's a big question we're asking our customers. Are you working with other people? And if you're working with other people to produce your video content, then you need Avid MediaCentral. The world is changing. We need to turn around our content faster than ever. And this set of tools that Avid is bringing to the world, they're doing it in post-production, they're doing it in broadcast, and now they're bringing it down to small groups, really allows you to be more productive, to find the media you need, to have other people sift through it and sort it and look for it and add metadata and whatever tags you need on it. And that can be done on a Chromebook or a Chrome device, Chrome browser. You don't have to have MediaCentral, you don't have to have Media Composer installed, and you don't even have to be in the same place, which is kind of incredible. We got a little video that you guys put together. We're going to roll that video before we bring you into the conversation. So let's roll that little video. It's an overview of kind of how MediaCentral for editorial management works.
Inside of Media Composer, you'll see MediaCentral Editorial Management. This is a window into all of your assets, all of your media, not just in your project, but across your entire NEXIS system. I'm currently in the Browse app, so I'm just browsing to take a look and see what I have. But again, the nice thing is I may want to bring in some assets from another project. Here we have our clips, and if I double click, it simply drops that into my source window, and the bin relating to that project opens up inside of Media Composer. You'll notice in the apps right here, this is Browse. The next slide is Search. So if I click on Search, I can now go in and search for metadata. I can search using phrase find and script sync technology, so the phonetic search capabilities inside of this window. So if I want to look for any muzzle flashes, we'll type in, let's say, muzzle flash here. We'll go ahead and do a search across my system, and it's going to bring up 44 results. You'll see that right on top of a piece of metadata where a muzzle flash is there. So these came in from a VFX house. I double click, it opens up the bin, and I now have the muzzle flash.
Cool. Well, like I said, we've got Dave Colantuoni for Avid here, and I'm taking a look, and I see we've got through Facebook a guest of ours, Michael Camus, and Michael's with Key Code Media. I just want to give them a shout out because I know they were very influential in helping this product coming about, giving you guys great feedback all during the whole process. So little shout out to Key Code Media on the West Coast for what they did, and thanks for tuning in for the show, Mike. All right, let's talk about, to start this, before we get into the product, let's talk about who it's for, because I think that's one of the things that's been kind of misunderstood. It's called MediaCentral Editorial, but who is that? The obvious is small post houses. That's real easy. The next obvious thing is like small TV and movie production houses and companies, but I think it's bigger than that, Dave. So let's talk about some of the other areas we see this kicking. One of the places me and you had an interesting conversation about this was like advertising agencies. He's muted.
Sorry about that.
Now we got you.
Yeah, that's okay. That was me, by the way.
We thought it was us. There you go.
Technology. It was totally
it's not
me.
you, it's me.
Cool. So yeah, absolutely. So anyone that needs to collaborate on a production, it can be from a small to a medium-sized production. It can be advertising agencies, traditional post houses, anyone that sort of needs to interact with an editor, someone that needs to look at some content that's being created to verify it's what they're looking for, organizing media, adding metadata. Anyone in a production in any sort of industry in video can use this product. And that's one of the really nice things about it. It was geared so that it doesn't get in people's way. It's easy to learn. If you're an editor, you know how to use Media Composer, for instance. You don't have to relearn Media Composer. So yeah, we really saw this as an advantage. There isn't a whole lot of things out there that can take advantage of that kind of functionality.
Yeah, agreed. So we've got like corporate video production teams. One of the things I want to talk about that I think this is a great opportunity for is if you're a college or a university with a communication department, you want to have kids come out of your school who have a skill set that's usable and marketable for them to get jobs. And one of the things that we're seeing is MediaCentral, editorial, we're bringing it down to small groups, but there's deployments throughout the industry, in major news groups and major call letter groups and major video and editing facilities, NBC, people like that, and some of the big Hollywood studios. And my feeling is if you're a community college or a local college or just at a college with a communications department, this needs to be in there, not so your kids can learn how to be independent filmmakers like a film school, but so they can learn how to use the tools and get to that data quickly. Plus, I think if you use it in your university, because you're actually creating so much content, if you're recording lectures and things like that, this could revolutionize your ability to get through your content, where right now, I can only imagine what a fight it is to find that particular clip or that particular video from a college, university's communications department.
Yeah, and that's a great point. So, as you know, Avid is very much deployed in a broadcast scenario and broadcast news stations around the world, and many of them use MediaCentral. MediaCentral's core functionality is based on roles within an organization. So you might have someone who's doing logging, you might have someone who's a journalist editor might be cutting together stories. You might have someone that's aggregating social media content, things that you use in a newsroom environment, for instance, to put together a story. And so in a college or university, exposing your students to that tool and that technology can only help them get jobs in the future. And so that's one of this is a great little sort of entry-level product to introduce them to this. To that sort of functionality. So yeah, it's a great point.
The other area we thought that this is really useful for is if you're doing local sports, maybe it's college, maybe it's high school, maybe it's a AAA or a single A baseball team or one of the little NBA affiliate type stuff. Every game is content. Every interview is content. Every time you talk to someone is content, and you're constantly trying to look back to that content that you have from previous years, previous shows, what have you. And I think this is a great way for a small local sports team to really organize their content, work together, and turn around their productions faster. And if they're turning their productions around faster, then they can get more out of them and they can save money and be more productive.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, someone's just looking at a web browser, viewing content as it's being ingested. Absolutely, there's so many applications for this inside of production, and it's not just in a small post house, right? Your point is it's extensible to other ways of creating media, and that's another great example.
Exactly. Now, the next slide I want to bring up is an important slide because this is more than just a single thing. It's really a workflow solution. So there's several pieces to it. You have the MediaCentral Editorial Management software, which has to run on a server. So you have to have a server set up in your system to run that. You need a Nexus Pro because that's where all the content's going to sit is on the Nexus. And it can be a Nexus Pro E2 or an E4. You need Chromium, Chrome-based browsers. Someone's got to have Media Composer somewhere in the whole system. And coming soon is going to be Adobe Premiere as well. So I wanted to go over those core components before we actually dive into the actual tools that are part of the set. Now, I'm going to kick this over to you to talk a little bit about, and that is the MediaCentral panel for Media Composer, and then how it's coming soon for Adobe also.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do, this is around simplicity, right? And what we're trying to come forth here is you don't need to learn new tools. And if you do need to learn new tools, they're so simple to experience. And so when we talk to editors, Media Composer editors, they don't want to change their experience. Many of them have been in the industry, they've learned, they're craftsmen at what they work on every day, and they really don't want to learn and have a different way of working. They want to get their work done quickly, they're under deadlines and things like that. So MediaCentral Editorial Management and the user interface that they use every day really does not get in their way. And that's what that tool is all about. It's a HTML5 panel that runs alongside Media Composer. It does all those things Michael demonstrated in that video a few moments ago. You can search for your media, you can organize it, you can use the bin locking functionality with someone who's remotely located on the web browser. But essentially, you just work just as you always have, but have this great extension of your functionality. For Adobe, similar type of thing. They have a panel that can host the MediaCentral Cloud UX interface. And you can do the same things in that. You can search for content, you can interact with your timeline, and organize your media and all that. And it's just another great tool for sort of looking into your Nexus, finding content, and interacting in a collaborative manner. And that just note says coming soon, and we are working on that functionality. We expect to have it sometime this year. And so if you kind of look at the tool set, you now have an editor who can work on Media Composer, an editor who can work on Adobe, or the last tool is actually the MediaCentral Cloud UX web browser interface. And that is a brand new interface just introduced to market a few weeks ago and discussed at NAB. But this is a web browser interface that allows you to do many, many things. It allows you to view your content. It allows you to organize media. It allows you to search. It allows you to add metadata, add markers, and things like that. So that runs literally on any computer that runs Google Chrome, and you don't need any special interface or install to work with it.
Cool. I want to shout out to some of the people I see watching the show. Mariana Montague's out there, also Chris and some of the other guys from the Avid communities. I want to let people know that there's an Avid Facebook community for Avid editors, but there's also one now for MediaCentral, and that's where different people using the product can share best practices, tips, and tricks with each other, which is really cool. So thank all you guys for, logging into the show, and the show will be posted to our YouTube channel afterwards. We go live on Facebook. We clean it up a little bit, take out any mistakes, then we go live on YouTube. Dave, I want to dig now into the panel, actually. You've got the MediaCentral panel for Media Composer. I know we saw the brief little overview in the video, but talk about how that is really, and you touched on it a little bit, it's seamless for someone who's an Avid person, correct? I mean, they're just going to take to this as if it were just natural.
That's right. If you're an editor, you're familiar with your Nexus login or your formerly ISIS login. So you use that same way. You're familiar with how you organize workspaces and things like that for your production that you're working on while editing in Media Composer. The same login allows you to log into MediaCentral Editorial Management module. That's what brings up that web browser interface you saw the demo of. And that's it. There's not a lot much more that you need to do. There's not special permissions or things like that. Again, simplicity was the most important component to this. Once you sort of get all set up and logged in and you see that window that's sort of highlighted in purple down in the left-hand corner, this allows you to do that browse and search of all your Nexus workspaces that you have permission to. It also allows you to have bins from other projects. Those are automatically added to that same interface, that same searchable database that you're looking across. And it basically knows what to do. If you click on a clip, just like Michael did in that demo, it actually plays it directly from the Nexus. If you're in the web browser, it knows you're in a web browser and will stream the video directly to the web browser so you can view it. It has all this nice, intelligent architecture that we built into it that sits in the background, and you don't even need to know it's working for you.
And the administrator of the MediaCentral sets up the roles, and everything's tied together, right? So I don't have to log into Nexus separately and then find out what my role for MediaCentral is. And if I have a role where I'm just a kid who's part-time, where all I'm supposed to do is log some metadata or make sure we've got rights management or whatever for this stuff, I just get access, or my staff or my people I'm collaborating get access to the tools they need and they use, and depending on who you are in that cycle, you'll get more or less access to stuff, but those roles are set, you set it up once and then that role follows you, correct?
That's right. That's the way it works. Another thing we've heard from customers is, well, sometimes I don't want a producer to see a lot of different content. I only want them to sort of see
The good
this
stuff.
particular clip or whatever. So we can set up a special workspace on Nexus for people to have access to. So yeah, it's extensible but simple, and you can do all those administrative features that you spoke about and a few more.
Yeah. Now, the cloud-based stuff is really super exciting, and I know Michael Kamish chimed in, and I've seen the same thing too, and that is the toughest part about this whole thing is really your IT department and really trusting the video people to get their own VPN for real video pipelines and stuff like that. And I know that takes a little bit of IT expertise and stuff like that, but I'm real confident that over the next few months, we'll get some expertise. The guys at KeyCode you'll get some, and there will be some best practices that'll eventually start being published on the IT VPN side of this, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We do have experience with this because MediaCentral UX has been in the market for a number of years, and remote editorial is something that's very familiar to Avid. We've had Media Composer Cloud Remote in the market for a number of years. It's been called other product names in the past. And then we've had MediaCentral UX, which has been a remote editorial tool for a number of years. And so when we get this sort of sits in the market for a few months, we'll start to do best practices. On your slide, you reference VPN and things like that. Those are common IT infrastructure like things that it works with today. Then being able to stream media directly to the web browser while you're remote, all the sort of things that are needed for performance and bandwidth for connectivity and things like that. We'll work all that out and get all that stuff published as we discover. We do have a lot of that data already, though.
And you know, the thing that I'm trying to explain to people is this is being used by people with big-time IT departments. What we have to do is simplify it so that people with a smaller IT background can jump on board. And places like Videoguys, we're going to step into that void and help people understand that better by getting some expertise and getting some levels of training from you guys. So thanks a lot for that. And that's something that is a pothole, not a hurdle, and we're going to get through it together. I want to talk about something that I think is one of the secret sauces of this whole thing that's got a lot of people real exciting. I'm going to kick it right to you. Tell us about HyperBins.
Yeah, so this is an extension of some functionality that's been around for Media Composer in our storage for many years, and it's been tried to be duplicated, and we've really used this as a very robust collaboration tool. And what this basically is as you can't write to a bin by two different users, and that would be a very bad thing. So there's special notifications that go on in the background, and Media Composer editors who've used Unity and ISIS and Nexus are very familiar with this functionality. What we've created here, though, is we've actually taken the architecture that ran that inside of Media Composer, and we've run it now on that server as a service, so it extends to that Cloud UX interface. So anyone that's remotely working in their web browser now has the functionality of bin locking right in that web browser, and you're interacting directly with the editor in Media Composer. So you get full interactivity with Media Composer. So you can essentially create a brand new Media Composer bin in the web browser, and the editor in Media Composer sees it instantaneously, and you're on two separate systems. And if you create folders, those work the same way. As you add media to those folders, the editor sees that being created instantaneously. So you can essentially have someone, a PA or someone that's organizing media for an editor in a web browser, and the editor is instantly interacting with them. And if bins are locked, they get notifications that they're locked, and so forth. So we call it HyperBin, and it's because it really extends the capabilities of our bin locking architecture that we've had for many years. And yeah, it's been very well received, and the implementation we did is great, by the way.
Yeah, I want to make sure everyone really understands that this is MediaCentral for editorial management is a new product, but you guys have been at this for a long time. I mean, using bins, bin locking, asset management, protection, security. That's been what separates Avid apart from all the other NLEs out there. Everyone tries to play in the collaboration playground, but the truth of the matter is, if you're working with other people, nothing in the industry comes remotely close to what Avid gives you. And now Avid's bringing that tool set down from the big production companies, the networks, and the big studios down to a level that you doing corporate videos, small post house work, small team group, can now have those same advantages of sharing storage, sharing assets, working together and collaborating, but knowing that what you are working on is secure also, and someone can't come in and mess it up. And the cloud ability, where you can now have like an assistant editor or someone just logging stuff from their Chromebook or wherever they're doing. They don't even have the full session going. Just, to me, that's mind-blowing. Now you can get productivity, you can get into the hands of people who are more, I'm going to say, interns or learning their way up the food chain of how to produce video and stuff like that. But this is really going to open up productivity on a level that people in small groups dreamed about but never really got. They could share storage, but they couldn't really truly collaborate, and now that's coming. So kudos and great job on that, Dave. We got a little video we're going to run now that goes into a little more about the bins.
So this is MediaCentral Editorial Management running in a web browser. Again, you have your same Nexus workspaces on the left side here. I simply double-click, and I can preview any media right here in a web browser. I'm just going to minimize this a little bit, because I want to bring up two web browsers and show you how I can move and create projects and media. I can simply drag elements from one project to the next. It's going to populate in that bin and let me create and prep media. So again, when I go back to Media Composer, we set that up, we open the bin, and look at that. Those two clips are now readily available.
Like that clip. I want to go in now a little bit to something else. We want to talk about the different roles people have in the video post-production process, and let's talk about how MediaCentral can impact each of their lives to make their lives better, easier, more productive. So let's start with the guy who's the big kahuna in this whole thing, what it's really about, the editor. Tell us about how this helps the editors.
Yeah. So thanks for the setup. And I think the way we approach the product and the way we created it, we looked at the problems we were trying to solve for people in a post-production environment. So with the editor, it's all about what I said before. It's simple, a simple to use interface that doesn't get in your way, but it really gives you a couple of things. One, this really robust search mechanism that allows you to find all of your content. You don't have to go searching through bins or finding in bins and things like that. Everything is cataloged so that you can just literally click in that search window, look for your content, and then find it immediately and interact with it and start editing. So that's really what an editor can do. And it again, doesn't get in their way, and they should be able to seamlessly interact with it.
Very cool. Then let's talk about another guy, especially if you're a group collaborating. There's some assistant editors. Those guys' job primarily is to make the editor's job easier. Let's talk about how we're making assistant editors more productive and therefore more valuable.
Yeah, so the assistant editor, remember, roles within an organization. So now the assistant, a lot of them work within Media Composer today. What we are trying to do here is move them to the web browser so they can work remotely, for instance. But what this is all about is it's an easy-to-use interface. It allows you to create Media Composer bins and folders and bin sharing with that editor, just like we showed you in that video. You can browse and search content. You can log clips. You can add markers. You can add metadata. There's an inspection pane, so you can look at the metadata accompanying a clip, and then you can play back that media. And our goal is to really play this out. Create products that interact with roles within an organization. The next one, the producer and director, for instance.
The big guys. You got to keep them happy,
the big
right?
Guys. So a showrunner needs to review content. This interface is super simple. You don't have to find a way to get clips to a producer now. You don't have to burn a DVD or create a QuickTime. They can now just literally log into this interface. It's a web browser. It's easy to use and view their content immediately. If they want to add commentary to it, it's as simple as adding a marker and adding metadata directly to it. Because everything is directly saved to the Nexus, it gets seen immediately. by the editor or assistant who wants to look at it. Same for directors.
Awesome. Now we're going to switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about the pricing. What's this cost to come into? I want to review with people that it's sold in 2, 5, 10, and 20 and 25 packs. It's $1,000 a seat, and a seat is an active user at the time, correct? So if you have 5 seats, you can have 10 people in your organization, 5 can use it at a time, and they can be a combination of people on the Chrome browser or people actually in Media Composer, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So it's active users, connectors to that server, and yeah, it's someone if you have 5 assistants, let's say, and they're using the web browser, and you have a seat of 10. You have 10 people using it that can connect to it. The other 5 can be Media Composer editors, and any combination of that. So that's sort of how it's priced, and we tried to make it super simple. I have 2 people in my organization, so it's $2,000. One can be an assistant, one can be a producer, or one can be a Media Composer editor and a producer, or so forth.
Cool. And then I wanted to talk about, you guys are launching some bundles to introduce this. Now, these bundles are really being set up to like conceptualize what's out there. You really want to buy the right amount of seats that fits your organization, and of course, we'll work with you on that. But we wanted to show this because the starting bundle includes a Nexus Pro 40 terabyte, a Dell switch, 5 seats of editorial management, and 2 seats of Media Composer for $19,995. Or we have a step-up bundle that gives you 2 40 terabyte engines, so 80 terabytes, the Dell 2024 switch, the 5 seats of editorial management, and the 2 seats of Media Composer. And that's real important to show that this pricing, it's affordable for that small group. You know, if you're going to share storage and you're going to get working on this, you need to do it. But there's a missing piece to this component, which I want to touch on next, and that is you have to have a server for the MediaCentral. And MediaCentral servers, we put this up here as an example. This isn't the go-to one. You need to get a server that's going to support what you're going to be looking to do. But we put this server together with with Avid, with one of the companies we work with who does servers for us. And this is basically something that we would say would be for a small group of 5 to 10 people. But you're going to be about $6,000 in cost. Of course, if you're going to try to get 25 people going, we're going to have to beef that up. The server might get up to $10,000. This is basically an off-the-shelf HPE DL360 Gen 10 server, the latest servers. We will have these available. I know Avid's working on some pre-configured servers, and I just want to let people know this is a ballpark price. It's not what you have to pay for it, but you're going to be spending about $6,000 on that server. So your total cost to get in the door is going to be, if you go back to the system, $19.95 plus $6,000. Let's call it $25,000 because there's usually savings in there when you buy all that stuff at the same time. All right, Dave, I want to bring you in on something now that's a little bit different, and I know you're a publicly traded corporation, so there's only so many things you can talk about here, but I want to talk about the future, because in all the demonstrations and all the presentations I've seen, you guys keep stressing that this is the first generation of this product, so it's got a lot of growth to go. The first one we kind of tapped on a little bit, and that was Premiere Pro support. Is that still in target for Q3, or is it pushed out a little bit?
So it's still around. It's still coming for Q3. We're hoping to show it at IBC. So that's the latest on that particular feature. I think and thank you for bringing it up. We know it's a V1. We know the capabilities and the possibilities of this product, but we wanted to make sure that we got this right. This is something asset management and collaboration is at Avid's core competencies as a company, and we didn't want to mess it up. And I think we've definitely hit a home run, but we've also been very careful about how we present it to customers and so forth. So for V1, you just saw what's in it. For V2, we know that there's things we want to do. We want to build out the assistant editor role so it has more functionality, playing back sequences from Media Composer, for instance. We know we want to do sub-clipping and things like that. We want to add more ways to add metadata, or if you see MediaCentral Cloud UX and what's available for broadcast customers or production management customers, there's actually a timeline inside that web browser, so you could do things like string outs. Those are the sort of things that we're really looking at doing. Remember, Avid wants to fill roles in these organizations. It's really important that you can create content quickly. There's so much content, as you know, that's being created today that you see it every day, all the things that are on Netflix and all the OTT companies out there. So high quality content needs to be created quickly. That means that you're going to need the tools that assist you in doing that, and we feel like this is one of those tools that can really
Cool. Now, we had a question from Facebook that kind of might fall version 1, version 2. You can answer it, and that is, dialogue search isn't available in the MediaCentral web interface of Editorial Management. Can phrase find be used on a per editor inside Media Composer basis?
Yeah, you can still use it for Media Composer. So you would still use it through the traditional find window in that regard. However, one of the things we've done is we've taken the search mechanism that's in MediaCentral Cloud UX and we've rewritten it, and it now inherently has the phrase find capability built into it. And so, coming soon on Editorial Management, you'll have that functionality built in also. It's not available today, but it is kind of in the core architecture of our search mechanics, and we'll expose that in the future too. So you wouldn't need script sync.
Perfect. And one of the things that I want to talk about a little bit, and I know this is now going a little bit further in the future, but one of the things that's excited me when I've seen all the MediaCentral presentations, and granted, I've seen some that are aimed at, the networks and not necessarily in this package, but it's bringing the power of the cloud to bring some artificial intelligence type features to the ability to find your data, to find your stuff. So one of the things that I heard that I thought was really cool, I'm not saying this will be in this product anytime soon, but it was really cool, was the ability for it to see name tags, so that if it saw my name tag, it could then search and find clips that I was in it based on my name tag or based on a road sign and stuff like that. Can you talk about some of the uses of AI and how you can see them coming into workflows in editorial in general, not necessarily this product?
Yeah, sure. And I think, so thanks for couching it. Yeah, someday we'll have this built into this product, but not right now. But as far as conceptually, we actually do have demonstrations of this today with the MediaCentral platform and some of the other products that we have in the market. And I think it's important to know there's a couple of things that have happened over the past couple of years. One, we've really been building out this MediaCentral platform, and many customers have heard about it and they don't really know what it is, or they haven't seen sort of how it's exposed to what they do every day. Editorial management is one part of that. But also we have this relationship with Microsoft. And Microsoft has a set of services that they run that do these AI-like functionalities. So one of them is being able to do facial recognition or do something like speech to text. So you can literally capture media, upload it to the Microsoft cloud, have them transpose it back into metadata and search for that metadata within MediaCentral Cloud UX. And that's a demo we have today. There's other things that are relevant to post-production workflows, which is more tailored toward where editorial management is focused today. And that is things like transcription services or automatic auto tagging or logging or those capabilities. So yeah, AI is really the future. Automation is really where all production is going. And Avid is tapping into this to be put into our products, over the next couple of years.
Cool. When I look over this direction, I'm actually reading a screen that has some of the Facebook comments that are coming in, so I want to go into that. Someone asked about the APIs, and are you going to make it available for people to make apps for editorial management?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a platform, so it does have APIs that will allow you to expose functionality from a third party. I don't know when, but that's something we want to do.
Awesome.
And we actually have some of that today. It just hasn't been put into editorial management.
Yeah, this stuff is just going to change the industry. I think as people get their hands on it, they're going to find cooler and cooler things to do with it. And once again, when you're ultimately tapping into the power of a cloud as opposed to local computing power, all of a sudden things open up that no one ever thought was before possible. So I thank you for going into as much as you could without spilling any beans, but giving us a clue on it. Dave, I want to thank you for coming to the show. Really great to have you in here with this. Any closing last words you want to give to the audience about MediaCentral Editorial?
Yeah, so first of all, again, thank you for having me. I encourage you to give Gary a call and take a look at this product. It's something that's very innovative and different. I'm proud to have been able to work on it. Yeah, as a product manager, it's always great creating stuff. I love post-production, film and television production. So it's great to make a brand new product that we think can make a difference in the way that content's produced. But yeah, take a look at it. We love it. And thanks again for having me.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. At this point, we're going to cut to what's going to be in the next show. We always like to give you a little preview of what's coming up. We're going to be doing a show on the Matrox Monarch family of streaming, recording devices. They're being deployed in a lot of educational facilities where they're running 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 of them at the same time. They're being controlled through various control softwares to automatically turn on, record, stream. Very cool technology. We're super excited about that. We're going to have a show on NDI. Lots happening with NDI. We're going to go over that in depth with all the new products that are coming out. The guys at Bird Dog are expecting to have their latest version shipping pretty soon. And I think next week we're going to have a special announcement from Red Giant for a show too. So I thank everyone for tuning into today's show. I see people are asking some other questions about virtualizing MediaCentral instead of buying a physical server. Yeah, that stuff's going to happen in the future. We got to keep what we can keep to for this show for now. If you're aware of what Avid's doing, they're a major partner with Microsoft. They won an award for their implementation from Microsoft on a global level. What they're doing with the Azure Stack to bring it to media content creators is amazing. And at some point, yeah, everything's going to be virtualized. But first, we got to get there. And it's going to start for the virtualized with the big guys. You got to know that with Avid. It's going to start with the networks, with the NBCs, the Al Jazeeras, the Sinclairs. It's not going to come down to us. This is the first product in a long time that we've been waiting for. It's really come down into what I consider to be the small group, the guy who's the bread and butter customer of Videoguys. You got 4 or 5 people in your shop, maybe up to 10. You're working together. You're trying to create content as fast and efficiently as you can. Well, there's a brand new tool set that's going to make your life so much better and so much more productive. Thank you, Dave Colantuoni from Avid. Thank you, everyone from the Avid message boards on Facebook who tuned in. That's the Avid editors on Facebook, and there's also now a new MediaCentral group on Facebook. Thank everyone for watching the show on Facebook. We'll have the show posted up so you can see it from our website and our YouTube page shortly. This is Gary from Videoguys.com. Videoguys Newsday Tuesday. Give us, hey, 36 minutes. We went a little long today, but I thought the show had some great content and it was worth it. When you got a special guest like Dave, you got to take advantage of it. So thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next Tuesday. Peace.
Videoguys is available Monday through Friday. Give us a call at 1-800-323-2325. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter to stay connected with all of our updates. And you can like us on Facebook. Keep an eye out for our live videos. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.